We really need to think about policing in a very different way in the United States, and that means just really flipping everything that we think is normal, everyday policing on its head. And that means questioning the standard model of policing. So, for example, this reactive approach that focuses a great deal on arrest. We have to think more carefully about how patrol and investigations can be more proactive, can be focused not on arrests, but on preventing crime, and also focus on improving trust and confidence with citizens that the police serve.
Well, I think to begin rethinking policing in the U.S., we need to keep in mind that the police serve two very important functions. One is keeping us safe. And keeping us safe means preventing crime, not necessarily making a lot of arrests. And the second thing that we should keep in mind is that in a democratic society, it's important how people react to the police and how much trust and confidence they have in the police, independent of whether that trust and confidence translates into lower crime rates. Both are important objectives of policing in their own right, and one should not be allowed ever to trump the other. I see two major challenges in changing the way police go about their work. One is it has to be inculcated into police culture that both crime prevention and citizen trust both matter and both matter in their own regard. To achieve that, police have to be given the tools to allow them to achieve both objectives, and that's going to require major changes in the culture of policing, the training they receive, and the way they're rewarded.
I think the major challenges in changing the way police do their work has to do with adjusting systems that have been long-standing in policing. These are systems that shape the culture and the organizational outputs of the police, from training to organizational incentives to the way police are managed, and also how we define the functions and craft of police, and also how we define good leadership or good policing in the United States. Those are major systems of policing. Also, accountability systems need to be adjusted. These are major systems in policing that require really surgical adjustments in order to achieve the types of changes that we've been discussing with regards to improving trust and confidence and also preventing crime. And so the challenge for police reform today is not to swing with the pendulum of crisis, and that is to either focus on crime control or only focus on trust and confidence. It's about achieving both of them together and doing that in a way where we adjust systems that can institutionalize some of these changes in the long run. Some concrete steps that police agencies can take to improve their practice really have to do with adjusting very specific aspects of policing. So first of all, they need to train police officers in a wider toolkit with regards to preventing crime and improving trust and confidence with citizens. Right now, the police are trained primarily in procedures about making arrests and also procedures about responding to calls for service when they happen. And this training really needs to be beefed up a bit. We also need a great deal more resources spent on crime analysis and improving the analytic and critical thinking capabilities of the police. Other changes that have to occur are in things like managerial systems and also organizational incentives. These have to be adjusted to match new performance metrics that we are interested in, and that is the prevention of crime and improving trust and confidence. So there needs to be a wide variety of very tangible changes in policing, including actually providing police with the tools that they can use to achieve the principles that we're discussing.
The question of how to go about systematically getting information on community response to crime is among actually the most challenging of our blueprint items, because devising systems where you can regularly and routinely get reliable information from the community about how they are responding to what the police are doing is a very, very difficult problem technically. And which is in fact exacerbated by the very low response rates we have even for routine surveys. So this is one of the items in our blueprint that's going to require fundamental breakthroughs in research methods for collecting survey data.
I think in order for police to collect citizen reaction on police tactics and also crime more generally, they might consider really targeting specific groups in the community that are most impacted by police actions, and also members of the community who might have had interaction with the police. So people who have called the police for service or who might even have been arrested by the police. I think devising these systems are difficult, but like our systems of collecting crime data, we need this information in order to understand whether or not strategies that we're using to improve trust and confidence actually are working. I think there are 3 areas of research that we really need to focus on with regards to advancing principles 1 and 2 in our paper. That is, crime prevention, not arrest, are important, and that we should pay attention to citizen reaction. These 3 areas are, first, we need to understand whether or not strategies and tactics to improve trust and confidence actually do so. For example, things like improving procedural justice, training on implicit bias, community-oriented policing, technologies intended to improve accountability, such as body-worn cameras. We don't have enough knowledge about any of these with regards to their outcomes. The second area that we need research on is in the how and why of crime prevention strategies that police are using. So we know that when police go to hotspots, they can be effective in reducing crime. But what are they doing in those hotspots that actually leads to that effect? What aspect of their entire deployment packages are contributing to that crime reduction effect? I think we really need to drill down into that knowledge area. And third, we need more information on how this type of knowledge is translated and institutionalized into police practice. So if we want the police to be more prevention oriented, if we want them to pay attention to the research on trust and confidence, what types of levers do we need to pull in the policing agency? Is it in training? Is it in organizational incentives? Is it in changing accountability systems? And which one of those work best in achieving that? I don't think we have enough research on that area as well.
There are always major gaps in knowledge in any field of human endeavor. And in this area, I think we need, in policing and crime control, we need to adopt a medical model. And the medical model is one in which you're never satisfied with how much you know. And the same kind of attitude and perspective needs to be taken with regard to policing and more generally with crime control.